Nick Faldo won everything golf had to offer, but almost nobody liked him. Behind the trophies was a man who never forgave mistakes, and the grudges he carried lasted decades. Nick Faldo never tried to be liked. From the moment he stepped into professional golf, he made one thing clear: winning mattered more than popularity. Comfort mattered less than control. And emotions had no place in elite competition. Over time, that mindset made him one of the most successful players the sport has ever seen. It also made him one of the most controversial. Now in his late 60s, Faldo's record is untouchable by most standards. 6 major championships, multiple seasons as the world's top-ranked golfer, a career built on precision and discipline. But alongside those achievements sits another legacy: a long list of broken relationships, public criticisms, and rivalries that never fully healed. Faldo did not forget slights. He stored them. He remembered mistakes made by others with the same sharp clarity he applied to his own swing mechanics. For him, professional golf was not about personality. It was about standards. And anyone who failed to meet those standards earned his disapproval permanently. That mentality came into focus again in recent years through his long-running conflict with Sergio Garcia. Their history stretches back to the Ryder Cup of 2008. Faldo was the European captain, and the result was disastrous. Europe lost heavily. Faldo was furious, not just at the outcome, but at what he believed was a lack of commitment and emotional control within his team. Garcia became the symbol of everything Faldo believed had gone wrong. He criticized his focus and attitude, speaking publicly in a way that left no doubt about his frustration. Garcia did not fire back at the time. He took the high road, suggesting he could say much more, but chose not to. That silence did not close the chapter. It kept it open. Years later, Garcia spoke about tensions with Rory McIlroy, hinting that maturity was an issue. Faldo reacted immediately. He labeled Garcia the most emotionally underdeveloped player he had ever encountered. The comment was harsh but consistent with Faldo's worldview. To him, talent without restraint was unacceptable. Emotional reactions were weaknesses. Golf demanded control. Many felt the criticism crossed a line. Even respected figures within European golf voiced concern. Sam Torrance, himself a former Ryder Cup captain, openly challenged Faldo's approach, suggesting his words caused unnecessary damage. When voices from inside Faldo's own circle began questioning him, it reinforced a long-standing perception. Faldo's rigidity isolated him. To understand why Faldo operates this way, it helps to look at how he built his career. Nick Faldo was not a natural prodigy. He became great through obsession. Early in his professional life, he tore down his own swing and rebuilt it piece by piece. He endured years of frustration to achieve long-term perfection. That process shaped his personality as much as his game. What emerged was a golfer who trusted structure over instinct, planning over feeling, preparation over flair. The Faldo method was not about freedom, it was about removing variables. That approach produced results that silenced critics. Championships followed, rankings climbed, consistency became his trademark. Faldo never hid his belief that friendships on tour were distractions. Relationships created emotional obligations. Emotional obligations weakened focus. He preferred distance. That distance protected his edge. That philosophy put him on a collision course with Azinger. Their rivalry crystallized at the 1987 Open Championship. Azinger arrived with confidence and momentum. Faldo arrived with discipline. Over the final round, Faldo played flawless golf. Not spectacular, not risky, just perfect. He refused to give anything away. Azinger cracked under pressure. Mistakes appeared late, Faldo did not. When it ended, Faldo lifted the trophy, and Azinger was left confronting the reality that emotional volatility had cost him dearly. That defeat stayed with Azinger for years. He later admitted that competing against Faldo felt like competing against a machine. Faldo did not intimidate through words. He intimidated through control. 2 decades later, the balance shifted. In 2008, Azinger captained the American Ryder Cup team. Faldo led Europe. Faldo brought his usual demands: precision, obedience, discipline. Players struggled under the weight of expectations. The environment felt cold. Azinger chose connection instead. He grouped players by chemistry rather than statistics. He focused on trust rather than fear. His team responded. The Americans won. The victory was more than a result. It was a philosophical statement. Faldo's method, which worked brilliantly for himself, failed when applied to others. Leadership required empathy. Faldo had never believed that. Few rivalries were as emotionally charged as Faldo's relationship with Greg Norman. For over a decade, they defined professional golf. They pushed each other to new heights. Yet one moment overshadowed everything else. The 1996 Masters. Norman entered the final round with a commanding lead. Expectations were enormous. Pressure followed. The collapse was historic. Shots went astray. Confidence vanished. Faldo once again remained calm. He executed. He won decisively. The image of Norman unraveling while Faldo surged forward became iconic. Faldo showed compassion afterward, offering comfort. But the damage was done. Norman's greatest failure became inseparable from Faldo's greatest triumph. Years later, the rivalry resurfaced in a different arena. Norman became the public face of LIV golf. Faldo opposed it fiercely. He viewed the league as a shortcut, guaranteed money without competition, entry without merit. To Faldo, the traditional structure of golf mattered because it demanded sacrifice. He criticized players who left established tours and still wanted access to major championships. In his view, choices had consequences. You could not abandon the system and expect its rewards. Faldo saw LIV as a threat to the integrity he spent his career defending. His criticism of Norman was no longer personal rivalry, it was ideological war. Yet one rivalry followed a different path. Seve Ballesteros clashed with Faldo repeatedly, especially during Ryder Cup battles. Their styles could not have been more different. Seve thrived on emotion, creativity, intuition. Faldo believed those traits invited chaos. Seve used mind games. Faldo resented them. But beneath the tension existed respect. Seve won. His methods worked. His leadership delivered results. At the 1995 Ryder Cup, the two embraced. The rivalry never turned bitter. Faldo acknowledged Seve's brilliance even if he rejected his approach. That moment revealed something rare. Faldo could admire greatness when it proved itself. That distinction explains everything. Faldo does not attack success. He attacks what he believes cheapens it. Undisciplined behavior, emotional excuses, shortcuts, entitlement. As a broadcaster, Faldo became an enforcer of values. His commentary carried judgment. Some viewers appreciated the honesty. Others felt alienated. But Faldo never adjusted his tone. He believed the sport needed standards. His legacy is not comfortable. It is uncompromising. He shaped modern golf through preparation, control, and relentless expectation. Nick Faldo was never interested in being understood. He wanted golf to remain demanding. And whether people agree with him or not, his influence on the sport remains permanent.
Which is tough when you're first doing it because you're like, I got, I want to do this, I want to say that. But as you learn, as you've been around, let it breathe. If it doesn't happen now, I can get it maybe in a few holes later or something, that thought. So you just learn to pace yourself, yeah.